Okay, so now that we actually have something set up to record, we can go ahead and start. So
All
I'm
right.
Ryan,
And I'm Jacob.
and Manny's somewhere. He has himself muted.
I'm here sitting down.
Okay,
Sweet.
so all right, so let's jump into it. So Pokemon new set coming out, Brilliant Stars. What cards we want to talk about first?
All right. So I'm just looking at the list on PokeBeach. I'm just gonna go down in order from by type, from stuff that I've seen a lot of hype for online. The first being Torterra. So stage 2, what HP 190, Volsum Grottle. The thing I've been seeing a lot of people talk about is the first attack. For a Grassy Colorless Evo Press, this attack does 50 damage for each of your evolution Pokemon in play. What is the hype? Like, I've been.
So I think from what the hype would be for evolution Pokemon, you're looking at mainly a meta right now before Brilliant Stars comes out that's relying on evolution Pokemon for VMAXs and everything like that. But ultimately, there's like no grass support. There's nothing that can help you get grass energy, in my opinion. But I know there is a couple cards that have come out in earlier sets that does help get like grass and fire energy out because of a certain deck that I can't really think of the Pokemon's name right now. It's a one prizer, but it does like 160 damage for.
Oh, Regidrago.
Yes, that one.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, if you literally just replace Regidrago with Torterra, that could be a gross deck.
Yeah, because you're looking at Eldegoss and you're looking at what's the other
Cherubi or whatever it is.
Yeah, get the basic energies out of your deck. Boom. And then you have the ability to attach the grass energy as much as you want. And then, there's some acceleration, I guess, but it's just.
So my issue here is not exactly with the energy issue. My energy is the evolutions. Because you're playing, besides Torterra, you're playing with some seriously weak grass type Pokemon, and searching them is a pain. I mean, yes, we have the tried and true. We're getting Ultra Ball spoilers. We still have Great Ball. We still have Evo Incense, and we do have cards like Grottle, which will be in this deck, obviously, and we do have Turnfield, but I don't know. I'm not as hyped for it. You're not hitting weakness for a lot of the high tier decks in the format right now. Even post-roads, even like when Brilliant Stars comes out, and the fact that at best, like, you might be hitting for 200, which you'll two-shot, but there are so many decks that'll still be existing when Brilliant Stars comes out that'll one-shot you before you even get there.
Yes.
That's my biggest issue with this card.
So, from Torterra, I jump straight to Shaman. Because, Shaman's not. Shaman B alone isn't that great, but Revenge Burst, 60 plus damage. This attack does 40 more damage for each prize card your opponent has already taken. So, if they've already taken 5 prize cards, you're swinging for 260 damage. But the V-Star is what the hype is. Revenge Burst, 120 plus damage. This does 40 more damage for each prize card. So, again, if they took 5 prizes, you're now hitting for 320 damage. You're pretty much knocking out every V and V-Star. Almost. But
you're also taking out almost every V max in the format.
Yeah.
Almost.
But that V-Star power, that new power that we're getting, they said, can't do GXs, we're going to give you V-Star. You may use this ability during your turn, heal 120 damage from each of your bench grass Pokemon. you can't use more than 1 V-Star power in a game. Which ultimately I would say should be a late game user, should not be used early.
This is gonna be a 2-2 in every. This is gonna make Leafeon so much better.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be put in Torterra probably. The fact that it doesn't specify besides it must be bench, it must be a grass Pokemon, is huge.
Yep. I mean,
and this is gonna be a recurring theme of what I'm gonna bring through this episode. Is spread dead with this set? Because there's so much.
No, spread is not dead. We will get to that soon because I'm excited for it. But next big one, everyone's favorite Charizard V and V-Star.
Oh god,
they couldn't stop. They just couldn't stop making Charizard. But here we go again, because you're getting the reg arts, you're getting full arts, you're getting alternate arts, and you're getting secrets. So who knows how many Charizards you're going to get out of this set. For collectors, I feel bad for you. Luckily, set is not big like Fusion Striker Evolving Skies. You're only looking at,
172 cards.
Yeah.
That's not big at all. That's actually a relatively small set, especially for a new standard like rotation setting set. That's pretty small.
Yep, and it's going to be great. Basically you buy a case, you should pull one of everything at least.
Yep.
But
so looking at this card, and we'll get to why this statement's about to be true later. Fire is back, baby, and I cannot wait.
Yes, Fire is my baby.
Oh,
I loved Welder. I loved Blacksmith. I loved Heat Factory. I loved just all the fire support, because it was always fire support from when I started playing to now. I mean, it's been fire, but now that Welder was taken out of the game, fire went bye-bye, basically. Unless you're playing Victini.
Yep.
Which, by the way, is an amazing deck, and it's going to only get better with the set.
Oh, I think people are going to stop playing Victini Control. I think we can go back to Turbo Victini with this new set. All right, so the thing with again, this is based on cards we're going to get to later, but looking at Charizard V-Star, which is going to be the star of the show, it's going to be a very good deck in the format, even with Suicune and Ice Rider running around.
Yep.
The first attack, even though Charizard, as normal, has a very awkward attack cost. 2 fire and a colorless. Not too bad. Explosive fire, 130 base, and if this Pokemon has any damage counters, it does 100 more damage. That is so easy to do in this new format. That's so easy.
And it's because of certain cards that we will get to later, like you said.
And then, hey, for one more energy, you just hit 320. Just for 4 energy. I get it's a V-Star, but seriously?
Yep.
Freaking
but
man.
Yeah, after Charizard, we're looking at Moltres.
Yes, one of our pre-release promos.
Yep. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 70 more damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness. So it is comparable to Team Up Zapdos, but Zapdos only had to move from the bench to the active to get that extra damage. But because of certain cards in this set are helping Fire, getting energy accelerated because of putting damage counters on. So these damage counters are actually going to help out big in the long run.
So this card is a lot better than Zapdos. I think this card is so much better than Zapdos ever was. I say that also as someone who was never a fan of Zap Beasts when that was a deck in the meta. I never thought it was good. I never saw someone who played it well. However, I also think that this card won't be good in the format. It's only 120 for a basic, and you're not even hitting for that much. You're hitting for 90, and you're already having to weaken yourself. I don't think so.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be a 1 or 2 of in a deck, like Zapdos was. You had 2 in a deck probably with Pikarom, but with that stadium helping with the acceleration and everything, it's gonna it'll be an early game user, and it's good to just sit there and keep pinging if you can. And it's only a 1 prizer, and you're not worrying about like ADP or something taking 2 prizes off of it.
That's true.
But
If we have nothing on Moltres, I want to move on to this. Is just a personal card that I'm gonna be looking at, and maybe might build a rogue deck around. And that's the second of our Sinnoh starters in Infernape. It is Typhlosion, but just back.
I was just looking at that card because
For
boy,
a stage 2 150 fire monkey, for a single fire energy 80, so it's 80 times damage. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 80 damage for each attack revealed this way. Discard those energy cards and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. This card is a better Kyogre. It is a better just pour a bunch of energy into a deck and go burr.
Yep. But that's where you're gonna sit there and use Valcorona to get the energy back in. So for sure.
I love Infernape. He is one of my favorite Pokemon, and the fact that he's getting it kind of sucks. It's a baby Pokemon. It's not a V or a V star, but still decent attacker. Still could be good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have on him. If you got something else,
Okay. Next one that I would want to bring up is Empoleon. Ability, Emergency Ascent. Once during your turn, if this card is in your discard pile and you have no cards in your hand, you can play it onto your bench and then draw 3 cards.
it's Baby Archie's.
Yes, and then for a single water, this attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance. So you can sit there and ping the bench if you're able, because there's a card that's going to block the attacks.
Yep.
So, yes, spread in that way is dead, in my opinion. But at the same time, spread is still a very big thing with this set.
So the way I see this, I don't think this people who want to run this card will not run the evolutions at all. I think this will be like a 2 of in Suicune decks or an Ice Rider decks, just because if you run out cards somehow, you just plop it on the bench for free, get yourself a new hand, and maybe like a nice little way to get some damage on some pesky Pokemon.
Yeah.
Nice little card. Of course, this card is next. Lele is back. Wonder Tag is back. Why? Just, I'm gonna rant a little bit. Why is Wonder Tag back? What was the? There is so much like good ways to get supporters right now. We still have Pokegear in the format. There is still a lot of There's still like easily ways to get supporters. And it's not even, and the thing like people are hyping it up. This is worse than Lele. This is actually worse than Lele when that was legal, because it's less HP. Its attack is not universal like Lele was, and just I don't know.
So, what I do like about this card, minus getting the supporter, is you can still use it as an attacker, like Lele, but Lele didn't get the second ability for this attack, which is shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it and put it back in your deck. So, hit for a quick 120, even though it's a water and 2 colorless, kind of a big energy right there, but there's abilities and stuff that can get the water energy accelerated onto it and everything, if need be. But yeah, that just proves that Pokemon's running out of ideas here. But I do like the name, Luminous Sign. I like it.
It is a nice idea. Just for me, my issue with it is the fact that unless you're running some kind of toolbox deck that runs Aurora energies and stuff to actively attack with it, or you're playing a dedicated water deck like Suicune or like Ice Rider, which again are both going to still be very good with this new set. Yep. I don't see you attacking with it. I see it as a dead card. Moving on.
All right, so my favorite card that's coming back, baby. Mew Bench Barrier is back with Manaphy. Ability, Wave Veil, prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by your opponent's attacks. It is back. And
the Rapid Strike player in me is crying.
Let me tell you, it's going to stop a lot of decks. But there is hope for spread still. There is hope. Because it doesn't block damage counters, but it blocks damage.
Just another reason why Inteleon is still going to be so good. Like I honestly think Inteleon VMAX might get better with this set, but at the same time, Inteleon VMAX kind of sucks, so I don't know.
But, it definitely does suck a little bit.
The Rapid Strike player in me is crying because I was so happy when Bench Barrier rotated just to have it back a year later.
Yep. I mean, it definitely hurt. But I know the next Pokemon that's coming up is something you want to talk about.
Oh, yeah. So, Raichu V. I am still very conflicted with this card. Because, for those listening, I played nothing but Blacephalon for the entire time that it was legal. I loved me some Cake Pop. I loved Blounds. It was my favorite deck. It was the deck I took to my first ever regional. Raichu is not as good. And here is my reasoning. Simply because, one, the weakness on Raichu is so much more significant now than it was when Blacephalon was legal. So Blacephalon was legal, its weakness didn't really come up. Sure, there were some weird water decks going around, but it wasn't as prevalent. On the other hand, fighting is still going to be one of the most prevalent types in the game, which makes me worry about it. Now, moving on to and again, the support for it, it's my same issue that I had with Lumineon coming back with Lele, is that it's the support Pokemon around it, you can't attack with it. Because you brought this up before we started recording with like Flaffy. Okay, that's how you bring back the lightning energy to attack with. That's great. But what if it comes down to your Raichus are knocked out? You're screwed. Unlike in the old Blacephalon days, when you could reliably attack with either of the Naganadels.
Yep.
It was awkward, but you still made it work.
So, the next card I want to bring up is Electivire.
We just passed by Magmortar, and you didn't want to bring it up. Are you want to talk about them together?
That's what I was going to do, because I forgot about Magmortar.
Okay, so
yeah, it's a stage 1 lightning energy, explosive bolt, 30 damage, plus if any of your bench Magmortar have any damage counters, this attack does 90 more damage. And Magmortar, if we go back up, sadly it's fire colorless for bolt projection, 120 plus. If Electivire is on your bench and has any damage counters on it, this attack does 120 more damage. So you're hitting 240 with Magmortar, and you're hitting what, 120 with so with Electivire. So I mean, there's a good possibility that there are going to be some baby Pokemon decks.
Single Price just got so much better with this set. You know people are going to make this deck. Also, when I read back to read Magmortar did not say damage counters. You just see Electivire, period.
Yeah.
So that explains why you need a little bit more.
Yeah. I know that another baby deck is Luxray.
Yeah, that was the next card I was going to bring up. It's Boltund. It's just baby Boltund.
Yep.
And I I don't know. I'm honestly, again, that weakness concerns me just because fighting is still so prevalent. But and I'm curious how this is going to work with the new DCE, with Twin Energy, with Rapid Strike Energy, how that's gonna account. I'm pretty sure it's the old ruling of not the card itself, but how much it counts.
Yeah.
So it can be good. Again, it's a baby stage 2, so you have some risk, but whatever.
So the next one that I want to bring up, because how we were talking about Torterra with the evolution Pokemon. So if you think back when we had the Swampert deck, just the evolution deck that relied on all the abilities of each other.
Oh, Swampert Meganium, I remember that.
Yeah. So if you look down at Clefable, stage 1, one colorless energy, Moonlit Vestige. Flip 3 coins for each head, search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it on to that Pokemon to evolve it, then shuffle your deck.
That is just Wally and that is just a worse version of cards like Evo Soda, like Wally, like Forest.
Yep, but that's accelerating the evolutions so you can get Torterra out, if that's going to be a mix.
So the only thing that I have a concern, so obviously I know I'm being very negative, but that I always am negative when it comes to baby Pokemon. So here's the thing. You can do multiple, it looks, at least to me, unless there's a judge difference, you can evolve multiple times onto the same Pokemon. Unless I am misunderstanding.
Okay, say that again, sorry.
Unless I am misunderstanding the wording on this card, it looks like to me that you can evolve the same Pokemon multiple times.
Yeah, the wording definitely does seem like that.
I think we'll have to wait till like Salt Lake or when regionals come back to really know for sure. But just food for thought.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, not even gonna spend too much time on this. Dusknoir.
Yes.
You get it's what was the card? It's a card that's still over him. Oh, it's basically Frostmoth for special energy. Could be, I don't know where this will be good because the fact it's a stage 2, like I don't see this working in something like Mew or in Dragapult or anything like that. I don't know if this card will be worth it.
Yeah, so with this deck, I'm thinking more, since it's move a special energy from one Pokemon to another, it's basically what, Magnezone? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a couple Pokemon, but for special energy, that's a really nice ability. But at the same time, it's like it's a stage 2. Are you going to be able to get it out and be able to use that without someone pinging you or bossing it up or something?
Yep. All right. The next one that's definitely going to cause some stirring and definitely piss some people off, because I remember when this card existed last time, it pissed me off so much. Whimsicott.
Yes.
Okay. So this card is going to be a stall deck. I don't think there's any disagreement on your end on this one. It's going to be a stall deck. It's going to piss people off, myself included. I'm annoyed just reading this card. So the basic V is Fluffy Obstruction for a single Psychic, 20 damage. If the defending is a basic Pokemon, it cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. With a lot of Vs, that's going to shut them off. That's going to save you a whole turn, basically.
Yep.
Then the second attack for Psychic Colorless, Cotton Guard, 90 damage. This Pokemon takes 30 less from attacks after applying weakness and resistance, which is nice, but still annoying. Then we get to the V-Star. 250, V-Star, we all know the drill. Psychic Colorless, Tricky Wind, 160. Your opponent cannot play tools or special energy. Oh, God.
Yep. I mean, that's basically Shadow Rider, just with instead of energy and tools, it was stadiums and special energy.
This card is going to shut off so many decks.
Oh yeah,
There is not a single. I don't want to say there's, but there's very few top tier decks that don't run any kind of special energy. Mew dead, single or rapid strike dead. Jolteon dead. Just
yep.
and then the V-Star ability. For a single psychic, 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to this Pokemon. That can get so stupid.
Yep.
And also, I don't know if this is a mistranslation or anything. It doesn't say oh wait, no. For some reason I ignore what I was about to say because I just remembered. Oh wait, the bench rule applies regardless of what the card says. That card annoys me. I don't want to talk. I'm already annoyed listening to it. All right. Do you want to move on to Lucario?
Yes. So Lucario, it's a little bit of a throwback, not 100% the same, but it's like Team Up Charizard. If you remember what Charizard did, you put the 2 damage counters on it, and you search your deck for 2 fire energy, and you attached it. Sadly, Lucario, Stage 1, once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for a fighting energy and attach it.
Sad.
So it's not as much of a fighting acceleration as I would have liked, but I know quite a few people are excited that Lucario is coming back, and it does have that specific ability to get the fighting energy out if you need help getting to it. But for the damage, continuous Aura Sphere, 10 plus damage, discard all fighting energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 60 more damage for each card you discarded in this way. So if it's requiring 2 fighting, I mean, you're doing 130 for 2 fighting, but
yeah,
nothing says that you can't add more energy.
No, but so I wish this card was like Team Up Charizard, because that would make this card. I think that would actually make this card viable, and that's because of Dark being still so powerful in the format.
Yes.
Because with how it is right now, you cannot one-shot a Gengar. You cannot one-shot an Eternatus. You can knock out the Vs, but that's not what's going to happen most of the time.
Yep.
So
I mean, with Lucario, if you're going up against Eternatus, you're ultimately you would just need 3 fighting energy, and it's a one.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of Dark, here's a card I've personally been seeing a lot of hype for, and that's Honchkrow. So yes. Basic Honchkrow V, basic Dark Pokemon, 200 HP, ability. First of all, I love the ability name, Honcho's Stash. It's a crow. It's a big old boss. I love it. Anyway, this Pokemon can have up to 4 tools attached to it. If this ability stops working, discard all tools until there's 1 left. Then its attack, 2 dark and a colorless, Shadow Fear, 130. Your opponent reveals their hand. This card is so funny to me. So one of our mutual friends, Clayton, mentioned to me, I can just put 4 Cape of Toughness on this and give it 420 HP. I'm just like, oh my god, that is so funny.
Yep. It just sadly it's only 130 damage, but what you could do is, we'll get to that card later, is the new choice band. You could add 2 of those bad boys or 3 of those bad boys, and you're doing an extra 30, 60, 90, whatever.
Oh yeah, true.
So if you put 3 on there, you're doing an extra 90 damage. I mean, you're at 220. So
plus that doesn't even include like the matchups where you naturally hit weakness.
Yep, exactly.
Also, just like to say, again, this is a card that hurts a lot of decks, but I still think it's gonna heavily hurt this card, and that's Path to the Peak. For those who don't know, a stadium that says any Pokemon with a rule box has no abilities. Basically, Vs have rule boxes. You lose the stash. That sucks.
So the next card I want to talk about, which ultimately helps out Honchkrow and Dark Pokemon in general, Spiritomb. They always make a Spiritomb in all these recent sets, and it's always been broken. Yeah, a lot of them didn't get played, but the abilities itself or the attack was like for Mad Party, shuffle all the Pokemon back in. You know, it's Karen, but
Yeah.
But for this Spiritomb coming out in Brilliant Stars, for one colorless ticking terror, until the end of your next turn, the defending Pokemon's weakness is now dark. It's ultimately going to help all dark decks just destroy everything if you can sit there and swap it out. Luckily, it's a 1 retreat cost, so you attach the energy, do that attack, retreat at your next turn, swing big with Honchkrow, Eternatus, Moltres, whatever you're using for dark decks now.
Yeah.
But
I think this card is going to make Hoopa Moltres a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Because the issue with those decks is that in the non-psychic matchup, so if we're talking like again, not against Shadow Rider, not against Mew, it is very hard for you to knock out one shot. It is very hard. But at the same time, if you have that out and you don't get delayed, like you don't get sold out, that will just change the entire tide of the game.
Yep.
All right. Oh wait, I think we almost passed by this. I'm actually very surprised. How do you feel about Wormadam?
How do I feel about what?
Wormadam.
Wormadam?
Queen's Revenge is back.
Yeah.
Bees is back. So
it sure is.
So Wormadam comes in 3 forms: so grass, fighting, and metal. Stage 1, False and Burmy. For double colorless, Madam's Rage, 30 damage plus. God.
Okay. He's muted.
Yeah.
Manny, turn your TV off.
Anyway,
or
we can edit that out later.
Yeah.
So this attack does 10 more damage for each Pokemon you discard. It's literally Vespiquen.
Yep.
Now, here, and the fact that they did 3 printings of this, I don't know I don't know if this card's gonna be good. Part of me wants to see it be good because that'll be fucking funny, but at the same time, like, what do you do?
Yeah. I do like the next card that's below that.
Let's see. Probopass. Interesting.
2 colorless Magnetic Tension. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. This attack does 40 damage to the new active Pokemon. So you're forcing a Pokemon up, and you're doing 40 damage for 2 colorless. So, yeah, it's a stage 1. But you can sit there and hit the last 10, 20, 30, 40 that you have left on that Pokemon. It doesn't say your opponent chooses, you choose what Pokemon comes up so you can ping it. So that I wouldn't say is going to go into decks that rely on damage counters on the bench like Jolteon, but it could help out with those decks.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be played as much, but there's so many cards with abilities, with stupid wording of their attacks that just people overlook because everyone's focusing so much on the Vs and V stars for this. But
yeah,
it's like we said in the early beginning of the episode, this set will change the meta for a while. Because right now it's only a couple decks that are topping. I mean, you're looking at Mew, you're looking at Suicune, you're looking at Jolteon. I mean, pretty much every deck.
Both Urshis.
Yeah, and all decks are using Inteleon lines or some sort of acceleration to get into the deck, to get the supporters, to get the energy, to get Pokemon. It's just crazy how this set alone is going to change the meta and what is going to be top decking at regionals, because Salt Lake City is right across the street from us.
I am so glad I'm not going to Salt Lake because I am ready to see those results and I'm ready to see what's good. So I have two cards I want to talk about. They're really close to each other. And it's just because they did my boys dirty. Flygon V and Garchomp, they're bad. They're just. I know we really shouldn't be focusing on the bad cards, but both of them are two of my favorite Pokemon, and they just did them so dirty. So Flygon V, 220 HP, basic Pokemon, Dragon type. Grass is a fighting, 70 damage. Nothing to write home about. Grass, fighting, colorless, Dragon Impulse, 160 damage. And if your Pokemon is a VMAX, keyword VMAX, this attack does 160 more, and you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. Again, like you mentioned earlier, you could do like the Cherubim and the Eldegoss line with this card. But why did it say VMAX? If it said V, this card would be so much better because you can hit V stars. But once in next year, not this upcoming rotation, but next rotation, when VMAXs cease to exist, this card's just not going to do anything. And then Garchomp, real quick.
Yep.
Stage 2, 160 Dragon type. Sound Slip ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve during your turn, you may prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. And then for a Water and a Fighting, 160, mill the top 2 cards of your deck. There's so many gust effects in this format, that ability is useless.
Yeah. It's sad when a lot of people's favorite Pokemon, or Pokemon that have been really good in previous sets, to be honest, I haven't seen a Flygon deck that has been good. So they just keep printing bad Flygons. Garchomp has actually been pretty good in previous sets. But I'm mainly just talking about the baby Garchomps, because every Garchomp that I've seen since I started playing has an ability, and it's pretty good.
I top 4'd an ARG event with that Garchomp Lucario deck from Ultra Prism.
Yeah. So, but our next...
I think I know exactly where you're going next.
Our next pre-release promo is pretty broken.
The god himself.
Yeah, the god himself, Bidoof's. Well, what would you call him? His older brother? Well, Bidoof is Jesus, and
Bibarel is God.
Yeah, Bibarel is God. But Abyssal Hand is back. If you remember Octillery, Abyssal Hand, draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, it is back. Efficient.
So I actually stopped playing. I actually started playing around the time Abyssal Hand rotated out. So I did not get the full brunt of this ability. But
so it changed a lot, because it's like Genesect V. You can have multiple of these on your bench and using them. Yes, it's a stage 1, so it's going to be taking up a lot of space. But
so did Octillery.
Exactly, but I haven't seen anyone play more than 2 Octillery, when I was playing back in Ultra Prism and everything like that. But
yeah, and the fact that it doesn't have the you can only use 1 of this ability per turn is also huge, like you mentioned. Yep. So Yeah, and I think we should move on real quick because this is the card that everybody has been talking about. This is the card that's going to warp this upcoming meta so badly.
I'm really pissed off about this card.
So since I know you have some thoughts, so I'll be the one to read it. Arceus. I'll go over both because both are actually pretty decent. Arceus V. Basic Pokemon, 220 HP. For double colorless, search your deck for 3 basic energies. Attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you'd like. Shuffle your deck. And then we have Power Edge, 3 colorless, 130, nothing to write home about. Then there's the V-Star. I've already seen decks from Japan built around this card as a toolbox. 280 V-Star, Trinity Nova, 3 colorless energy, 200 damage. Same thing. Search your deck for up to 3 basics, attach to 3 basic energy, attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you'd like, shuffle your deck. And then the V-Star power, Starbirth. During your turn, search your deck for up to 2 cards, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck. Go off.
Yep. Well, the only thing, I mean, I think Arceus V-Star is going to be played in pretty much almost every deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that. Oh, hey, V-Star ability. Okay, cool. I'm just going to grab Boss and switch for game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or you just need those 2 trainers that it's like, hey, I have game. You know, but the thing that pisses me off is they couldn't let ADP die. They just had to make Arceus's attack ADP, and it's really, really upsetting to me. If I could, I would burn every ADP battle deck that I've seen, every ADP card that's out there. I don't care if it's worth $100,000. I'm burning it. It does
You and
not
me share the same thoughts on this on ADP. So
yeah.
here's another thing here's another thing I never realized. Starbirth doesn't end your turn. Why? Why does the V-Star ability not end your turn? It should.
That's why I'm saying it's going to be played, because you just need to get those 2 trainers, slap them down, and be like, hey, cool, good game. You're done.
But another thing is Arceus is going to make a lot of decks possible and bring a lot of decks back.
Yep.
The one I'm most excited for, and I don't even know if I'd run Arceus in this deck, is Scent Scorch. So because for cards that we're actually get to shortly, because we're getting close to the end, is plus this lets you ramp so much with Scent Scorch that you're just gonna start one-shotting people again like the old Welder days.
Yep.
I also think it's gonna bring back like some really clunky VMAXs and Vs. Venusaur, Blastoise, Grimmsnarl. They might have a chance.
Yep.
And also, because obviously a concern I always bring with normal type Pokemon is that fighting weakness, especially the fact that fighting will still continue to be prevalent in this new meta. Dunsparce exists.
Yes, it does.
For those who don't know, Dunsparce, the attack doesn't matter because it's only for the ability. Your colorless Pokemon do not have weakness. In Arceus toolbox decks, you're going to run at least one of those, so your Arceus doesn't get one shot.
Yep. But here we're going to move on to the trainers that are coming. So, and the trainers are pretty hyped. I mean, there's not really one bad trainer, in my opinion, that's in the set. There may be a couple.
The best item of all time got reprinted. This is insane.
Yes. So,
and I stand by that statement. If anyone wants to argue, I will fight.
Freshwater set trainer item card.
Not that one.
20 damage from each of your Pokemon.
It's just a better what's that card? Icy Pops.
Yeah. And a lot of the heal cards now are saying discard energy. like Cheryl and but the one card that everyone's super glad, and I'm glad that is back, is Ultra Ball.
There it is.
Ultra Ball is back.
Every deck just gets better. Like,
yes,
it's not specific. It's just every deck's gonna run 4 of. Like, that's how it was last time we saw Ultra Ball, and it's just gonna continue.
Yep. And a lot of the decks would struggle sometimes to get the VMAX or the evolution that you need. Ultra Ball, you're getting a Pokemon, not a basic, a Pokemon. So it's it'll be interesting to see how people are gonna play this, because I feel that Quick Ball, Ultra Ball will still, and Level Ball will all be played in the deck.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely will be.
That's maximum getting all your cards out that you need.
So here's something I want to ask. So it's funny you mentioned that, because a lot of decks right now are super tight on their item counts. So it's gonna be interesting how players adapt to Ultra Ball being brought back, how they're gonna adjust their item counts.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what the deck lists are gonna be like. That's why I'm so excited for, once this set is 100% legal to play, it'll be legal to play before Salt Lake City. Who knows if there's going to be online tournaments before Salt Lake City that people are like, hey, here's deck lists, play these.
Oh, I imagine how
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
But the next one, Choice Belt. I just think it's funny because you had Choice Band, and then what was the belt?
Choice Helmet?
No, what was the belt that people would attach to the fighting Pokemon?
Oh, Karate Belt.
Yeah, Karate Belt. So they couldn't decide between the Karate Belt and Choice Band, so there just was like Choice Belt. Pokemon Tool attached to one of your Pokemon that doesn't already have a Pokemon Tool attached to it, does 30 more damage to your opponent's Pokemon V before applying weakness and resistance. So that's a downside to it as well, because it's only doing that to V stars and V maxes. So if you're going up against a baby deck, it's not helping.
It's the same. Well, that's the same issue you ran into when Choice Band was legal. However, I am curious how Expanded's going to deal with this card because of GXs, EXs, and Vs running around. I don't care about Expanded. Screw that format. I'm just curious. I'm just think it's going to be funny how they adapt.
Yep. But the one trainer that a lot of people have been memeing about and just making jokes about is Pot Helmet. It's like, hey, here's a pot. Put it on your head. You're now protected.
Such a stupid name. Such a stupid
name. If the Pokemon this card is attached to doesn't have a rule box, it takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon after applying weakness and resistance. Pokemon V, Pokemon GX, etc. have a rule box.
This is gonna make single prize decks. This is going to help single prize decks immensely. This is another big reason why they're gonna be good again.
Yep. I mean, there's just so much, support coming out for the baby decks and Fire. I mean, like, a lot of things are coming back. Which, on that note, Fire, the next one, and I'm really excited about it, is Kindler. You can use this card only if you discard a Fire Energy card from your hand, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and put up to 2 of them into your hand, shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So you're getting acceleration there.
Mm-hmm.
But it says look at the top 7 cards of your deck and put up to 2 of them in your hand. Doesn't say it has to be energy. It can be any 2 cards. So,
what was the card from Old Standard that was very similar, but it was only top 5, and you had to discard those cards?
Ooh, good question.
Because this card really reminded me of that card. I'm trying to remember what it is, but whatever it is, and I'm blanking on what it is. This is just better. This is just frankly better. I wish I could remember the card because it's annoying me. I played it all the time in Baby Browns. Faba, there we go. Or no, not Faba. Nope, ignore me. That's
Pokemon. Or that would be discard or send the lost to the lost zone, the energy.
Hapu, there we go.
Oh, yep.
It's literally a better Hapu because you're looking at one more card than you did with Hapu, and you don't have to discard them. You put them back into your deck, so you're not actively losing resources.
Yep.
All right. So again, the next card, again, it's just a better version of a card we already have, and that's Cynthia's Ambition. Draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, draw until you have 8. That is, first of all, I'm just gonna make this quick note. There's such a good reason why if Miss Magus wasn't already banned and expanded, this card would make it banned.
Yeah.
But like, so you're already guaranteed 5 cards, which isn't a small amount by any means. Even if you don't have the Pokemon, but to draw up to 8 and to not shuffle, I think people are gonna start running this instead of Kabu. Honestly,
I can see this being, because I haven't seen this card be used in a while. I know some people are using it for like Flying Pikachu and stuff, but Electrode. Knock it out, get 2 energy, boom, Cynthia's Ambition, 8. So
it's a cute little card.
Yeah. Sharon's Care is the next card.
Another card why Arceus is just gonna be so damn good in the next format. Ugh.
Put one of your colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters, all attached cards into your hand. So it's basically a Sorola.
But better, because you're not discarding the cards.
Exactly.
Why are they... I understand Arceus is like the showcase card of this set, but this is just making it stupid.
Yeah. Next card we don't really have to talk about because it's Professor's Research. We all know what that does.
Nice to have research back.
Next one, Rossand's Backup. Supporter. Choose one or more. More. You have
First time
4
you see that card, huh?
Shuffle a Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. Shuffle a Pokemon Tool card from your discard pile into your deck. Shuffle a Stadium card from your discard pile into your deck. Shuffle an Energy card from your discard pile into your deck. So ultimately, you're just going to choose one, or you're going to choose all 4 most likely, because there's the wording on cards is really important, because there's a lot of kids out there, that I've coached. For an example, we were playing one night and he decides to be like, oh, okay, battle VIP pass, fail it. But he's like on his 7th turn, and I'm like, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Why can't I? Read the card. It says you can't use this card unless it's your first turn. So you can't get it out of your hand to use Genesec's ability to draw more cards. There's a lot of cards that you have to read that you can't fail. If it says grab energy out of your discard pile and you're like, oh, fail. No, your discard pile is public knowledge. If it says you must, you must. You can't say you fail, because I know there's energy in there, so that means I know you can take some. If it's set out of your deck, I can't know that because that's not common knowledge. Your deck is your knowledge. But
the fact that you can, so on that point, the fact that you can, so this is not like something like Raihan, where you have to have that discard in the deck to do anything. You don't have to shuffle any of these back. Like, if you have a Pokemon, a tool, and an energy, you can just shuffle the Pokemon and the tool back. You don't have to shuffle the energy, because you choose.
Yep. So, like, if you have, for instance, if you are going to play Rayquaza or some electric deck with Flaffy, if the energy is needed in your discard, don't touch it. Because
Yeah.
it says choose one or more. So you can choose one, you can choose 2, 3, or 4. So
Yeah, it's gonna. Also, I hate the fact that first time I read this card, my mind immediately went to this. But Staldex and Durant are gonna love this card.
yes.
I hate it. I hate both of those archetypes, but I know for a fact they're gonna love this card. Moving on. So I'm gonna let you do this one because the next one is gonna be my favorite card of this whole set. So I want to do it.
Okay. So the next one is Boss's Order. We don't need to talk about that one.
Nope.
For those that don't know, it's Cyrus. That's going to be the character in the card.
He better get a full art in the next set.
Yes. But we have a couple new stadiums, 2 to be exact. One called Collapse Stadium. Each player can't have more than 4 bench Pokemon. If a player has 4 or more bench Pokemon, they discard bench Pokemon until they have 4 Pokemon on the bench. The player who played this card discards first. If more than one effect changes the number of bench Pokemon, use the smaller number.
Roadblock. It's back.
Yep.
So many returning things in this set.
Wudo is back.
Also, Pokemon has already bullied Eternatus into oblivion. Why do they continue?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see people that play Eternatus and then someone just whips this stadium out and they're like, "Ha, eat my dust."
Because now they have to. Because not only did they have to deal with Path in the past, now they have to deal with this, which is even worse.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to the second to last card of these spoilers. Oh, this is why fire is back. Magma Basin. Stadium. Once during each player's turn, which makes these a little bit sad, but whatever. That player may attach a fire energy card from their discard to one of their bench fire Pokemon. If a player attached energy to a Pokemon in this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Charizard, Scorch, Victini, Cinderace, all these decks are going to love this card. So happy.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out a couple cards because I did not see them on the list, and I believe they are coming out in this set because they came out in VMAX Climax for Japan.
What I'm aware of VMAX Climax is the character rares we're getting, thankfully, and a few other reprints. I don't know if there's any new cards really we have to worry about.
If you remember what I said, Spread is back. So, if these cards are printed in this new set, Brilliant Stars, but I'm not seeing them on my list right now. But reading and doing research on VMAX Climax when I was getting ready to get ready for this new set coming out, there's a few cards that I enjoy. 2 very in particular comes in a regular and a full art, and it's pretty interesting. Called Acerola's Premonition. Your opponent reveals their hand, draw a card for each trainer card you find there. That is a great supporter. But here's where Spread is back. And then the card that is going to help it will be the next card we talk about after this. Mimikyu VMAX.
Do you know what? I completely skipped this card. What does it do?
Oh, let me tell you. Double color. Put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. If you played Acerola's Premonition from your hand during this turn, put 13 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like instead. Like, bro, Spread is back. Like, you're talking like Stunfisk V, 12 damage counters for damaging it after it used that attack? No. All I gotta do is play the supporter that I'm ultimately drawing a ton of cards for every trainer, and every deck right now is playing a shit ton of trainers, you're going to be helping me out in the long run, you know. So Mimikyu
Yo,
X is something to look out for, and it
real
is
talk. Pair this card with Inteleon. That could be a really good deck.
yeah. So, but those are the two from VMAX Climax that I was like really hoping that it was going to be on these lists, but I haven't seen them on the list. But the next card
So
is
this is the last card that I see, unless you have one more.
yeah. No, this is the last card I see, but it's one that is gonna change a lot to double turbo energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides double colorless energy. This attack, or the attacks of Pokemon this card is attached to, do 20 less damage to your opponent's Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So there is a negative for it, but you're getting that double colorless. So ultimately, you attach that to Mimikyu VMAX.
It doesn't matter.
You're not doing damage, you're placing damage counters. So
Yeah.
that second negative effect for the energy card does not come into play with Mimikyu VMAX.
So this card, again, besides Mimikyu, it's gonna help so many decks. RCS Toolbox decks are gonna run this card. As much as I hate this deck, I admit it's probably going to help it, but I think it's gonna hinder it more than people think, and that's Mad Party. Because you know people are gonna run this card as another 4 of Twin Energy.
Yep.
But I honestly think that is gonna hinder it more than help it because of that 20 less damage. Because that makes all the difference in that deck.
Yep.
And we have someone in our locals that plays Mad Party like a madman, and he's gonna see this card, he's gonna freak out. But when it doesn't work like he wants it to, I know it's not gonna be good.
Yep.
But again, it's DCE. Like I said, the 20 less is going to affect it. However, the decks that are really gonna run it, it's not gonna be that. It's still gonna win.
Yep.
Um,
but that is the last card. But
yeah,
for those that don't know, if you weren't able to keep up or whatever, so for the pre-release, we have 4 pre-release promos. 1, Moltres. 2, Lucario. 3, the Barrel. And 4, Liepard. So
that's right. Liepard was a VMAX Climax card.
We did not talk about Liepard. But Zoroark GX trade is back with that card, which is crazy to think about because it's a baby Pokemon using trade, so Path to the Peak and all that other stuff isn't stopping it. The only thing that's really stopping it, if I'm thinking correctly, is right now Galarian Weezing.
Yep.
So nothing else is really stopping baby Pokemon's abilities.
And 9 times out of 10, that Weezing's gonna be on your side.
Exactly. So, but that is all the cards for Brilliant Stars that we have on our list on our end. There may be more that are announced, but we are not there as of yet.
I think we should do a small update when the full English set leaks, and then go over any cards that we missed today.
Yeah, for sure.
So the next thing that we talked about, and I want to go real quick, for those of us who are in the Sarasota, South Florida area, TCG Con is coming back, and they have 2 big tournaments, a 3-box tournament. First place gets 3 Fusion Strike boxes. That's a lot. For first place. And basically, what I want to ask you, Ryan, is what are you playing and what do you expect to see?
So it's hard to answer the question, what am I playing? Because I don't know what I'm playing. I'm still expanding my play style, because my play style has always been based off fire being aggressive, hitting high numbers. But lately, I've been playing Mew, I've been playing Suicune, Inteleon, I've been playing Suicune Control, Victini Control. What else do I have? Single Strike Gengar Umbreon with one Single Strike Urshifu in it. I mean, there's so many decks that are out there that top. But if we look at the top 10 decks that have won a lot, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So the top 10 decks right playing for online tournaments is number 1, Jolteon and Inteleon. Jolteon is just a crazy, crazy good deck because you're using quick shooting Inteleon with Inteleon's attack to do 100 damage to the active and 100 to the bench that has damage counters.
Yeah.
Number 2, Suicune Inteleon.
How many of these top 10 decks do you expect to have?
I mean, I would expect 9 out of 10. There's one on here that I understand why it's in the top, but I don't understand why people are still playing it. Like,
I'm curious what it is. So let's go. So the first two, my thoughts real quick. Jolteon, great deck. Only big issue is Urshifu, but that's any lightning deck, so I can't really hurt it. And it doesn't even have that bad of an Urshifu matchup, to be completely honest with you.
Yep.
Then Suicune, you and me have played this matchup so many times.
Yep.
Suicune annoys me, but it is still very, very. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3 is Mew Genesect.
I am surprised that is not number 1.
It is the number 1 played deck, but it is not the number 1 winning deck. So that is
okay. That makes more sense.
That's number 3 for winning deck.
So I actually have a hot take for this. After Brilliant Stars, I'm saying at this current time, and I say after Brilliant Stars comes out, Mew is and will continue to be the best deck in the game.
Yes.
I don't care what any dark players say. I don't care what any of the Arceus stands are saying. Mew is the most consistent deck in the game. It's only going to get better with Brilliant Stars. And It is just going to continue to dominate.
So the next deck for number 4, Suicune Ludicolo.
I don't like this build. I really don't.
I do not like it at all. Like, I understand but you're wasting space with Ludicolo, in my opinion, because if you're prized the rare candies, if you prize Ludicolos, whatever it may be, you just have a waste of space in your deck. You're relying on that ability to hit that extra 100 instead of just pinging, oh, okay, 220. Okay, 220 knockout, Yeah. But if I'm playing Honchkrow and I have 4 freaking capes of toughness, I'm not gonna back. But the next one after that one, which I am surprised that it is number 5 in played and number 5 in winning. So Duraludon.
So I think I know why. And it's because with the exception of Suicune, I am willing to bet all of the top 10 decks run special energy of some kind.
Yep.
That is why it is so good. And I personally, I expect Duraludon at TCG Con, and I expect Duraludon to remain at regionals.
Yes.
What I feel like I know what number 6 or number 7 is, so I will get to my rant on that one in a second. And Duraludon is a big reason why.
So number 6, I'm skipping for right now because that's the one I don't understand why people are playing, and I will rant about it after.
Oh,
So
interesting.
we're going to
Okay.
go to number 7, Leafeon Moltres.
This one surprises me. This one seriously surprises me. Because I think Leafeon personally is too clunky.
Yeah. I
I
think most of the evolution decks are pretty clunky.
like I don't yeah, it's just too much personally.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys like it, you do you, but I am just not a fan.
The next one is Urshifu Inteleon. And by Urshifu, meaning Rapid Strike Urshifu.
So here is my thing about this deck. I think, and at our locals a few weeks ago, it proved my point. I think pure Urshifu Inteleon is gonna make a comeback. Like, not Melanie Fu, not Dark Fu. Pure Urshifu Inteleon with just a bunch of fighting energy, with Inteleons to ramp through and to snipe, and just Gale Thrusting and spreading like a champ. That is because Duraludon is so big. Because in Melanie Fu, if you play Duraludon, that's an auto loss. You just lose.
Yep.
And in Dark Fu, you have a better Duraludon matchup, like speaking as someone who's played the deck, but it's still very hard. It is a obnoxious matchup.
Yep.
And continuing with that, I just don't like Melanie Fu.
Yeah.
Personally, like, as someone who lives and dies by the Urshifus, I just don't like it. I don't think it's that.
Yeah. I mean, you're wasting a supporter on the water energy. Yeah, you're drawing 3 cards, but you could be using that supporter to limit your opponent's lane with Marnie, or using boss or something like that because it's like, crap, I need this energy, but I also need the boss at the same time, so I can't really use Melanie and boss unless it's expanded and or not expanded but unlimited because Lieutenant Surge is a thing, but can't play that in expanded. So yeah. But the next one is Ice Rider Inteleon for number 9.
Yeah, no, Ice Rider's still good. I think Ice Rider deserves to be here. Nothing much really to say.
So, and number 10 is interesting because I would think it wouldn't be considered an Inteleon deck. I would think it would be considered Sableye Weezing, not Sableye Inteleon. But they have it labeled as Sableye Inteleon, playing the Galarian Weezing that shuts off the abilities.
This deck surprised me, honestly. I played against some early versions of this deck, like when Sableye, like when this meta first started coming around. I was not impressed, but like, hats off to the people who made and popularized this deck because it came out of nowhere and just started winning.
Yes. So we're gonna go back to number 6.
I'm so curious what it is now because I don't know.
Pure Zacian V.
Oh, this deck frustrates me so much.
Like the last tournament it played in, January 17th of this year, got third out of 348.
Not bad.
4 Zacian, 2 Zamazenta, 1 Oranguru. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's hitting 230. Zamazenta stalls for the big guys, but I don't understand why people are still so hung up on Zacian when, yeah, there's metal transfer, metal saucer, metal everything, but I'm expecting this deck to go bye-bye when Charizard
to die.
Yeah, metal is going to go down quickly because of fire coming back with the fire.
Yeah.
That's my little rant. Zacian. The one that
So-
I wish was better, what I wish I would see more is Victini.
I was just I was just about to bring it up. There are 3 archetypes that I am genuinely surprised are not in this top 10. Victini is one of them. It's just still so good. It is still a very good. I don't know why people are sleeping on it. I think it will rise in popularity once Brilliant Stars comes out, but even then, I think it's still good. The second one, Gengar.
Yeah.
I don't know why this deck is not played more. Like, people sleep on this deck too much, especially with Mew being so prevalent.
Now, which version of Gengar?
I am talking Gengar Umbreon.
Gengar. Okay.
I'm talking pure single strike. Because I personally don't like Gengar Inteleon. I am not a fan of that deck.
Oh, cool.
I think because I think with, yes, it's Inteleon, so it gets a pass for a lot of things. But the fact that you're trying to shoehorn so much into that deck, and even then, like, I think it's personally worse than Gengar Umbreon. I just don't enjoy it. That's just me.
So
the one I am so surprised is not in this top 10. And spoilers, this is the deck I'm taking to TCG Con for me to play, and that is Single Strike. That is Urshifu Umbreon. Why? Why is this deck not there?
Let's find out what number it is. Gengar Inteleon. Wow, I'm going pretty far down this list. Single Strike Urshifu. I mean, there's so many freaking lists for this thing that.
So here's my thing with that deck. You are hitting both of the major weaknesses in the format in Dark and Fight.
Yep.
You are able to get past Duraludon and Zacian, which is huge.
Yep.
You are able to one-shot any V in the format with just your babies, with just regular Umbreon and regular Urshifu V. You get essentially, I mean, depending on the list, you essentially get 2 extra bosses orders for free. And you're also hitting a lot of the other big decks in the format. You destroy Jolteon. You plow through Duraludon. Single prizers kind of make you struggle a little bit. Suicune is a good matchup for you. Gengar's a good matchup for you. Eternus is a great matchup for you. This deck should be played more. I know I'm an Urshifu stan. Like that, I love this deck. I love this archetype so much, so I'm biased. And again, as I said, this is the deck I am personally taking the TCG Con. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. What do I have? What do I have in my bag right now? Mew Genesect, Victini's taken apart, Gengar Umbreon with 1 single strike Urshifu in there, and Houndoom. I have Inteleon VMAX and Suicune Control. So, do I want to play another deck? Yes. What deck is it? The number 1 deck. Everyone wants to play Jolteon. What did I buy? I bought 4 VMAX boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, ultimately, I'm going to play that, but I'm not going to be playing it at TCG Con for this weekend on Saturday when our whole team is pretty much going to play and dominate.
Yeah, I did sign up for TCG Con earlier today. Spoilers, so you will see me there to play.
Okay.
And
you decided on Saturday?
I did decide on Saturday, so I will be there.
Okay. Sweet.
So from current registrations, there are 14 people currently registered. Okay.
14?
14 currently, yes.
Okay, so we're looking at 4 rounds.
It is 6. They have already determined to be 6.
They can't do 6 rounds with that little amount of people.
I know, but I'm just reading off of what the website is saying.
Yeah. Well, they're probably because the 64 people would be 6 rounds.
Yes.
So that's probably what they're basing it off of because of how many they have capped at. But they are going to have to readjust if there's only 14 of us going to be there. Because
there's still several days, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Plus, we have some of our teammates who have not registered, so there'll be more.
Yeah, for sure. But
But
once we hit that 18 mark, we're going to be looking at 5 rounds.
Yep. But looking at these 14, literally half of them are our teammates or associated with us.
Yep.
Jacob Evans, those who don't know, that's Cookie. You will meet him in a later episode. There's myself. Joseph Manarite, that's Jammer, that's Joe. You will also meet him in a later episode. Josh Paris, another good friend. Kayla Bear, not on the team, but a very close testing partner. Ross Obsfeld. Ross could win the whole thing. I am just saying that now. He is a very good player. And he is probably the person I fear the most out of these 14.
Unless he decides to throw away his Urshifu on his first turn, and then he just loses.
Yeah.
Then
there's you, Steven Richardson, not with the team, but a close friend and a good testing partner. Like, that's half of the roster right there.
Yep.
So
I don't know the female, but
Kayla?
Yeah, I don't know
Hey, you do. She plays with us. She and her mom play with us.
Oh, that chick.
Yes.
Yeah. See, is it a mom and daughter? Because they look like they're the same age. Like,
jeez.
Take that as you want, because I'm not saying which age. I'm not saying old or young.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's okay.
So here's a little fun thing that we can do, real quick, before we move on to the next topic or just wrap it up for the night. Who do you think of our team's going to do the best? And you can't say yourself.
Given history, if he actually does decide to play at TCG Con, is Steven Martinez.
Really? Interesting.
Because Daytona Expanded was his very first regional. And we all decided as a team that we were going to play Celebi Venusaur Expanded. And he got top 64. He didn't get day 2, but he got top 64. And it's crazy because, I mean, ultimately, Logan can do good when he signs up. Steven can do good. I mean, you can do good. Ross can do good. Everyone can do good. Because ultimately, with this set or this meta right now, a lot of it isn't games going into time. It's like, boom, donk, third turn. Like, I mean, it takes certain decks to play against other decks to actually have a good game and play out the 30 minutes. Because I know with playing Mew, that sometimes is just all right, cool. You only have a Sobble out, okay. Attach for turn, Elsa Sparkle 70 for knockout game on my first turn. you know. But so ultimately anyone can do good. I'm not gonna sit there and say one person's gonna do better than the other, because ultimately I hope that all of us take top and we get our team name out there. I want everyone to know who Ancient Pet.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do the exact opposite of what you just did. I'm actually gonna make a decision.
Okay.
So you brought up a lot of good points. So for me, so based on me, because I played everybody on this list at least twice at our locals and in practice. The only person who I have lost more to than won is Ross.
Yep.
He is my kryptonite for some reason. And the fact that this is best 2 out of 3, too, is going to make a huge difference for a lot of these guys.
Yep. Sure is.
So my pick is Ross. He is an extremely talented player, and besides you and me, have probably won our locals the most.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I'm always so hyped up about winning locals and doing that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, testing online and testing locals are probably the worst things ever.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
if you only have the same 4 people showing up and you're like, I took first place for the past 6 months. Okay, you're going to go to a regional and you're going to be like, oh my God, but I always win. No, that's not how it works, because you're playing against people that either one have one deck on their mind and that's all they're going to play until it dies, which quite a few people I know from our locals are like that.
Guilty.
Or it's, you guys are playing the same decks over and over and over, so you guys know how each other plays, and that, okay, if I do this, I can stall him, or if I do this, he can stall me, but ultimately it's anyone's game. I'm excited to see these decks coming out and everything, but I do want to switch topics here.
Okay.
So, myself, you, and Manny, because we haven't heard from Manny yet, because he was only going to be here for this topic. I want to talk about, stories and, your experience in the military, and, what could we expect, in the future, or something like that. Just anything that really comes to mind, because you, being a second lieutenant in the Army, and you're pretty new,
Yep.
It's a lot of responsibility on you for being a young person, and your NCO's freaking 45 years old, and he's been to war, and his freaking leg has been blown off by a mortar. It's just, it's crazy to sit there and be like, hey, this 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 20 whatever year old finishing college is now a lieutenant, and he's now in charge of you.
I'm sure you remember how
it's crazy to
years ago
to
I didn't have a
put that
license,
much
so my
responsibility on
recruiter
someone.
didn't let me be security forces.
And granted,
But
like
still
I
heavily
showed
involved
you
with
earlier
security
today,
forces,
I was
honor
a year
guard,
away
and
from being
one
second
deployment.
lieutenant in the Army. Wasn't guaranteed military police, but that's what I was shooting for, because I was.
It's
having
still
to
better
go to
than the people
LDAC
saying
and
that
all that
Japan,
stuff, but
Korea, Germany,
I
all
was
these other
having
places
trouble
are
with my
deployments.
nighttime land nav course, because this land nav course was supposed to be like 100 times harder than LDAC. But I asked, hey, can I take an extra year to get prepared, because I don't think I'm ready? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, it's awesome that you recognize that, instead of going there, failing, and having to do it again.
Yeah, that place was going to get mortared, so it just really depends.
So ultimately, I just want
if shit hits the fan.
see, hear stories about what you've gone through. I know everything about Manny. Me and him have been friends forever, and he's he was personnel in the Air Force. He wanted to make ID cards for a living for some reason. I don't know why, but
Easy job, man. Poke life.
But here's the thing: he volunteered for security forces stuff, military police stuff.
Poke life.
If you wanted to be security forces, Manny, you should have just joined and became security forces. Oh, now you want to mute. Oh, I know.
Oh, so you're postal.
Yeah, I know.
I've only heard of postal on deployment for the Air Force.
Yep. One deployment to a vacation spot. Oh, yeah. No, like this is the spot in the Middle East that you're like, oh, I'm getting deployed to the Middle East. Little do you know that it's a fucking vacation. Like, is it a vacation? No. Do you have the possibility of being attacked?
Operations?
Yes. But I mean, it's just like what you were saying earlier. You know, UAEs are attacked.
It's different for the Air Force.
Yeah. So, Lieutenant Dan.
I hate you so much.
You got new legs. But what is your MOS? Because I don't think I've ever asked you.
Army goes up to like S6, right?
I don't know what the equivalent of the Air Force is, but my MOS is Adjutant General. So
Okay.
that's it's a Pogue MOS.
Supply?
I'm not afraid to say it because you miss me with that field shit. Exactly, miss me with that field shit. So I'm essentially HR, postal. Like my company now is a postal company where I am now, and yes. Yes, we have trained for it, and for all intents and purposes, we only do postal when we are deployed.
So your MOS is basically, layman's terms, a desk job.
Yes.
Okay.
For me specifically, what I do, I'm S3.
Could be the same.
I'm the S3 OIC. I do
time and service
training,
grade.
No, I'm training. That I am not S4.
Yeah, Manny, the S is in.
It's different in the Army.
Yeah, branches differ from S1 to S5.
Yeah, so for me, S1 is all of your S1 is actually your like all your medical, all your flagging, all that shit. S3 is your training, all of that. S4, that's your operations.
That's the people.
S6, and that's your IT people.
Yeah, for S4, that's what I was when I was in high school. I know that doesn't mean anything, but you know, yeah, S4 supply for basically.
Oh wait, yeah, S4 is supply for everybody.
Yeah.
I always mix them up. So as you said, I am only 24. I have been in the Army as a lieutenant for not even 2 years yet. I will hit my 2-year mark as a LT in May when I commission.
So because I know how it works for Air Force for officer ranks and promotion and everything, but for you, how does promotion work? Like, because I should know this, but since I got out of the Army and I was smart and got into the Air Force, you know, I don't know how officer promotion works. Is it because for us it's time and grade, but it also Air Force is all about tests and making sure you're good on everything. So you're not just because like when NCOs get promoted, they have to go to NCO Academy and Senior NCO Academy and everything like that. They're level 5, they're level 7. You know,
I used to process evaluations.
That's for the Air Force, but for Army, I feel like it would be more of a how you do your job, promotion board, and depending on how many points you have or whatever it is, you know, how is it that you would promote to first lieutenant and progress from there?
So I cannot speak for NCOs because I do not know. But believe it or so, for first lieutenant to second to first lieutenant, it is automatic. It is purely time service.
Yep.
So when you pass that 18-month
random question, Lieutenant.
threshold,
through which way did
you
you
automatically
commission?
promote. Which I have passed.
Did you have to have yourself,
pretty
gauged,
much
go through HRC, your
same
orders sent up
across
and all
the board
that?
because I know that
As an
second lieutenant in
accession?
the Air Force automatically promotes to first lieutenant. It's the challenge is to getting to captain and beyond.
Yep, that one is based off of your. I don't know if it's the same name in Air Force, but that is based off your OER, like your evaluations. Then you get put on a board to deal with it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like me personally, I just got my first ever officer evaluation about a month ago. Like it was completed. My raider, who's a colonel, like looked over my stuff, and I'm good to go. Like both my raider and my senior raider said I should be sent up to Captain's Career Course, which is the school for captains, as soon as possible.
So when do you sew on first?
Yes.
When do you sew on first lieutenant?
So I'm waiting on that because
you need your orders.
So here's the thing: orders have been posted already, but because of some convoluted flagging, I am flagged and therefore cannot. Until that flag is cleared, because it is dental, and it's not a mission critical dental one, I cannot promote.
I know how
annoying. It is annoying.
Yeah.
ROTC. I did. So yes. Like I have to have a lot, like there you have to have like your, even if you're if you commission through ROTC, you have to have a good handful of documents like put into iPerms, which is our document database, and before you can even do anything, before you can even commission. Thankfully for me, with my college where I commissioned from, long live the Dell, the annoying as shit thing. My guys, my S shop was really good with their job, and I wasn't able to worry about paperwork at all. I am just trying to get past this stupid dental flag, and it annoys me.
Yeah, dental is my favorite because, like, when I was in tech school, or no, when I went and got into basic, and they do the initial screening and everything, they're like, luckily they didn't say anything to me because, like, they don't really do a dental screening when you're in basic. But when we went to tech school, I was like, damn, my teeth are hurting. Like, I know I have a cavity, but I am super, super scared of going and them holding me back in training. But before I went to basic, I went to my dentist's office and they're like, hey, you have 8 cavities. And I was like, cool, I'm going to just hold that in my pocket and let my first base take care of that. Hopefully, they don't get too much worse in the next 6 months. Well, got to my base, get out of Florida, station me in fucking Panama City, Florida, see the world. No, go see Florida. That they're like, yeah, you are going to be rated as a class 3 and that you are non-deployable until we fix your mouth. And I was like, okay. So luckily, my first dentist that I had on base, she was really nice. She was a captain, and she ended up getting out. And the new captain that took over her practice, and I became his patient when I had to get my my wisdom teeth out, and how long after my wisdom teeth? It was a couple months after my wisdom teeth got out that I was like, hey, I'm having some pretty serious sensitivity on my bottom left molar. Can you take a look? Well, it turns out my tooth was dead and had to get extracted. So I was sent to a civilian office off base to get that extracted. It put a screw in my mouth. And it turns out that the dentist that did my surgery was the female captain. That was my first dentist when I got to base. So it was like instantly comfortable. But yeah, dental is a bad thing for me. I just have such bad dental.
Believe it or not, the wisdom teeth is literally the reason why I am still flagged, because my dental evaluation was like, hey, you have a decaying wisdom tooth. We're going to take that shit out.
Yeah.
So that is my next appointment, is literally to get my wisdom teeth taken out. And the one I had previously was to get a root canal. Now, am I complaining that I am getting these procedures for free? Absolutely not. Am I complaining that am I mad that my promotion is being held back because of this? Yes.
Yeah. No, I would completely agree with that, because I'd be the same way. But for me, it was I couldn't deploy because my teeth were bad, and then they're like, oh, you still have bottom wisdom teeth. I was like, yeah, those should be the only wisdom teeth in my mouth, because I never had top ones unless they were extracted when I was a frickin' baby, which is a high possibility. But they're like, oh yeah, those look really nice tucked in there. They shouldn't come out. Frickin' literally, I went to bed one night, woke up with the worst pain, and like I could feel with my tongue like that my gum opened, and my bottom wisdom teeth started erupting from the gums, and I was like, I need to go get an appointment. But
that sounds
yeah, it's great. So I know exactly how you feel with the dental situation, minus the promotion. But
the only other real thing of note that I briefly mentioned it a second ago, because Manny asked how I commissioned. More specifically, I commissioned from the Citadel, and if you two know anything about that place, we are not exactly known for the best officers.
Yeah, I almost went there. I'm glad I didn't. I know quite a few people that went there from Sarasota Military. Alec Alvera, Patrick something. I didn't like him, so I didn't really care about him. Oh, Patrick McDermott. Who else went there? Joey went there, I think.
Yes. So
yeah.
Even in my current unit, like the one I'm in right now, has so this past weekend actually, I had drill, and I was talking to one of my PSGs. Really cool dude. Love having him. He actually just got promoted to Master Sergeant, so good on him. So, like, we both have talked about like being at the Citadel and all that, and he's had Citadel lieutenants before, and he's told me like about like the reputation that Citadel lieutenants have. Which, by the way, the second apparently I guess there was like a survey a little while back of Citadel, or of like which academy has the worst lieutenants to deal with. Citadel was number 2. Take a random guess what number 1 was, and it's not West Point, surprisingly.
And it has to be Army.
That's West Point. It is Annapolis.
Oh, okay.
Which does not surprise me.
Yeah.
But something that like my going back to the story, some of my sergeant told me, which I actually like, and this is a sergeant I highly respect. So hearing this like was really a good confidence boost. Was just the fact of he respects me as an officer, because my style of leadership is, I'm cool with you if you're cool, I will show mutual respect as long as we both do what needs to be done, and you don't cause problems for me. And that's a huge thing, especially as S3, because it's on us if you don't go to a school. It's on us if the training is not complete.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But the college that I went to, I think I told you, was Georgia Military College. So
yes,
I did the early commissioning program, so it would have been a lieutenant in 2 years instead of 4. So I mean, I went through Fort Knox, Kentucky's leadership camp. Forget what that
I'm
was
so
called.
sorry.
But then, like I said earlier, I had a chance to go to LDAC for that final evaluation, basically, and I would have came back, finished my year off at Georgia Military College, and it was, but focused more on the military side of the school and try to focus on my getting a better PT score, getting better at land nav at night because I needed help. And, it just got to that point where I was focusing on the wrong thing, and then my GPA dropped below the standard for the program. So I was told, hey, you can be on academic probation and you not get paid for the whole year, because technically I was getting paid like a scholarship. And my other choice was or to resign. I was like, well, my parents are paying my tuition, and it's technically it was like, after everything, it was $1,000 for each of them to pay, and that was 3 times a year. So I mean, they're both spending $3,000, so $6,000 a year on me to go to this school, and the program's pretty much paying for the rest of it. But if I'm on academic probation, I can't get the monthly allowance for me to get, my stupid little things that I get, drinks, snacks, whatever, but that's why I had to resign. And the Army definitely tried to get that $5,000 bonus that I got, but they failed to do so because I enlisted with the Air Force, and that was the loophole. As long as I finished 2 years, I didn't have to. But
yeah,
I
have
would
plenty of friends who do the same thing, so I understand.
Yeah, I would have loved to finish the
It's a
program
trap.
and see where my life would have been, and it would have been completely different. But at the same time, it's like, if I went to the Army and I said, I want LASIK, like I did at the Air Force, would they have found my condition?
Right.
That's the thing that I don't know how it would go down, because the captain that was my eye doctor had a private practice before he joined the military. So he already had experience in the field. So I was like, he knows what the hell he's doing, but if I go to some Army post and it's like, okay, I'm Second Lieutenant Johnson, I'm going to do your eye exam today. Okay, your eyes look shitty, but here you go. Here's a prescription. Yeah, you can get LASIK. It's just like, you're handing the reins to a private or something.
Yep.
But yeah, that's good, I guess. but yeah, it's interesting to talk to others about, how their military career is going and what they expect to get out of it. Are you planning on doing 20 years?
That is the plan currently.
Are you planning on moving to active duty?
I do not know. You know what I do for a living, and I don't know if I honestly want to give that up anytime soon.
Well, the only reason I ask if you want to do active duty is because ultimately for you, it would be a cakewalk. But like for me, if I was Air Force and I was a second lieutenant and I was doing security forces, would I want to be active duty? Fuck no. I'd rather do that shit once a month and then 2 weeks out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That because it's the same way for reserves across the board.
Yep.
But for Army, being at Georgia Military College, I would have had to do the 2 years at Georgia Military College, so on, apply to my follow-on school to finish the last 2 years. Then I would be going to drill as a second lieutenant to whatever unit's closest to me. And then after that, after I graduate from the 4 years, I would be able to choose, hey, do you want to go active duty or do you want to stay as a reservist? Military police. Back then I was very passionate about it, so I probably would have chosen the active duty part. Knowing what I know now, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great benefits to active duty, but there's not a lot of great benefits to being a reservist, minus when you go on drill and you're on active duty orders and you get all the active duty stuff. But the good side to reserves and National Guard is you're able to do, like you, doing a civilian job that I would love to do. But with my most recent situation with the VA, it looks like I'm going to be getting 100% disability.
Nice.
So I may not be able to work that much. So I may work at Dark Side or Cool Comics or something part-time and just be like, hey, can you do cash under the table, PayPal, Venmos?
Wouldn't hurt.
Because if I could go somewhere and be like, hey, can I get hired and you not pay me on a payroll? Pay me under the table. That way it's not something that's, I don't know how all that works. Ultimately, you're going to have to report what you make at the end of the year. So it's like, but I'd rather just let this ride out and let it figure it out for itself, basically, because whatever's decided by the VA, I have to go with it unless I want to sit there and say, no, I don't agree with the crap that you guys just
So
told
what
me.
exactly are you trying to do?
Because like I complained in the past, they lowered me to 20% when it's a static condition and it shouldn't be lowered. It should only stay the same or go up. It went from 30% to 20%, but no, fuck me, right?
Manny.
Well, hopefully this and the streaming and all the other ventures get you some extra cash.
Yeah, and I'm so close to affiliate, it's crazy. Like it's crazy to think that, oh my god, I'm playing a game that I enjoy playing and I may get paid for it. But once I start doing that, I can't just keep playing Call of Duty. I got to start playing more games. So but we are at pretty much a 2-hour mark.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
I think we can probably do 90 minutes easy moving forward.
Oh yeah.
Especially if we have Joe or our more than likely other more frequent co-host Cookie on.
Yeah, for sure. Because we would be able to sit there and have discussions and argue with each other and call each other stupid.
Ah yes. Peak entertainment.
Alright, well, let's see. How do I do this?
Before you sign off, we might actually want to do a sign off before you stop the recording. You just edit this out later.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll call it quits. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan. This is Jacob and Annie. We'll see you next time.
Peace.